Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Hall Squires. This is my presentation on the Forrest D. Wyatt Center for PER 670. Just to get right into it, this is an overview of the Forrest D. Wyatt Center, also known as the Wyatt Gym. Um, yeah, I am going to be looking at its role as a health and wellness facility. Um, I'm going to kind of fly through this introduction pretty quickly. Yes, it does serve as a hub for the community. I am going to be looking at its structure. I want to look at its functionality and just the overall user experience. I think the best way to kind of do that is look at its strengths and weaknesses, and then you'll see I'll make some proposals for improvement. Why? Why does this matter? Why does the Forrest D. Wyatt Center matter? Well, health and recreation, health and wellness venues, health and recreation venues, they're vital in improving community health and maintaining community health. These provide our access to recreational activities. They are promoting social interaction and benefiting socio-emotional health. And they also support mental and physical well-being, which are key health areas in just our well-being overall as human beings. Okay. To get into the current conditions, I'm going to be starting with the basketball gym. It excels in its space, three full standard length basketball courts. As you can see, they are used in a multi-purpose fashion, which is what highly efficient facilities do. You can see the lines for pickleball courts. You see the line for the shuffleboard on the ground. Obviously, this is used in volleyball for a variety of different intramurals. There are a number of ways that this gym is utilized, and that's the real strength here. Adequate lighting and all very effective lighting, as well as HVAC systems, allowed the facility to operate both functionally and comfortably. The main criticism here from anybody who has been around these courts and utilized them knows that they are slippery, that there is a lack of traction. And that's just due to lack of upkeep in the way that these courts are required, especially for the amount of usage that they get. And that does pose an injury risk for those using them. Moving into the weightlifting gym, this is another one where the resources are absolutely there. You see a great variety of machinery. You see two fully equipped new power racks. You see a huge selection of free weights. And as I said, a huge diversity of machinery for a variety of exercises. The biggest critique for this weightlifting gym is not to do anything with the resources. You see tons of cardio machines, from ellipticals to rowing machines to treadmills. Um, so just like the weightlifting materials themselves, right? The problem is not resources, but just the date on them. You see that there's definitely an out of date theme throughout much of the gym. However, I do think it's worth noting, right, that those two new power racks have recently been updated. And aside from, again, the age on some of these machines, and the ability to then maintain them. There is a ton of positives associated with the weightlifting gym within the Forrest D. Wyatt Center, and it's why it's highly utilized by the community and a great diverse demographic of the community. Moving on to the outdoor lab, it's a phenomenal resource for students. You see that the recreation program utilizes it as a storage space, but also as a learning center. There's the climbing wall. This is really a fantastic space, and the real main criticism, and really only criticism that you see associated with the outdoor lab is just lack of utilization. Definitely in the graduate courses, but even in undergraduate as well. Okay. Moving into the lobby and the sitting area. The lobby is actually a really fantastic area. You see that there is a lot of space. They also have these two ping pong tables, something that is not by any means required, but utilized to help attract people to the Wyatt Center. But I think what it most effectively does is also keeps people in the Wyatt Center. which some could argue is why is that necessary? Well, I think the main attraction that you have of keeping people in a health and recreation and a health and wellness center is that they're more likely to then re-engage with those resources, right? So somebody who utilizes the weightlifting gym may then play some ping pong for a little bit and then find themselves in the basketball gym playing some sort of intramural or other activity inside there. So this is a really positive resource to not only get people to come to the Wyatt Center, but also maintain engagement with the Wyatt Center. Recommendations. All right. Some suggestions that I have based on these areas of the Wyatt Center that I've evaluated is really centered around efficiency. So there's some viable complaints here, and I've tried to acknowledge those already around maintenance. We think about those surfaces. I'm realizing now I skipped one. So I just want to run back really quickly. Um, I apologize for any confusion, but I do want to make sure that I do acknowledge. There was one other room, which was, of course, the those spin rooms. Those racquetball rooms is really what they are clearly initially designed to be. And these are just located just outside the weightlifting gym. There are two that upon my tour with Kirk and Kyle, the two directors of the facility. Two were still being utilized as storage spaces, but two were not. Um, and you see one here in this picture that I took being utilized as a spin space and another as additional exercise space. These are fantastic. The main criticism here is much like the basketball court, is you see that these are the kind of surfaces that also require a lot of upkeep, particularly ones that are seeing a lot of traffic are going to obviously require even more upkeep. And so there are some slick surfaces here that would be in need of some resurfacing. Now, I'm sorry, to go ahead and finish where I had just started here in the suggestions. Here I am. Excuse me. There we are. All right. So sorry for that. My clear and concise suggestions is all centered around efficiency, as I was saying, right? So viable complaints. Of course, we see some outdated machinery, right? We see some outdated weights. We see the furniture in the lobby, right? A bit outdated, right? This is common and probably relatively justifiable criticism. They certainly don't affect usage. Like they in terms of they might not attract usage, right? But they certainly are functioning, right? So what do we do? Well, I think that the main answer here is around efficiency. I've taken two pictures here. There was a complete and total lack of effort to reduce waste. And that's actually, as we had just recently talked about in our chapter of the Gilfried textbook surrounding, green buildings. Recycling and composting not only is good for the environment and not only a good sustainability practice, it's one that's profitable. It's one that's profitable that maybe not immediately, but once done, utilizing these resources that would otherwise just go to a landfill can be very profitable, and it takes away these massive waste responsibilities that currently sit on the Wyatt Center. Moreover, electricity, being around the Wyatt Center a few times, even at night, and kind of just walking by in the evenings, or at night, I should say. You see that the electricity is constantly on, things are constantly plugged in. You see very wasteful electricity use. And so efficiency around these three areas are my way of suggesting that you free up some financial resources to be able to start updating these things that we've, criticized, equipment, and then also resurfacing courts. And not only that, but also engage in green and sustainable practices that are good for the environment as well. So just to kind of wrap this all up, it's a staple of the Cleveland community, the Wyatt Center. And that's undeniable. It's got an unbelievable collection of resources and a variety of activities. The improvements are really going to be around efficiency. That's what's going to free up the financial resources and bring in sustainability and green practices that are going to really help the Wyatt Center go above and beyond and really take the phenomenal resources that they already have and take them to the next level. But at the end of the day, the Wyatt Center is going to continue to serve an important role in the community, engaging all of its constituents with these healthy lifestyles of physical activity and learning. And hopefully they can, or I guess I should say, with these suggestions, they could, free up some financial resources to be greener and to do even more for its constituents. Thank you very much.